Izanami, one of the funnest characters in Divine Knockout. I know a lot of people have been asking me lately, how do you play Izanami? What builds do you use, especially after the removal of the lesser blessings? So with that being said, I thought what better way than to release a video of how to play Izanami. So we're going to get straight into it with the Divine trait. For Divine traits, I personally choose Frantic Volley. Damaging an enemy with a melee attack reduces the cooldown of your Seeking Sickle by 0.5 seconds and grants 1.5% ultimate charge. Now, even though all of Izanami's Divine traits, in my personal opinion, are perfect for her in all forms of combat, I personally believe this one fits my playstyle the best and allows me to get my ultimate charge up faster, which obviously is great because I love to fare people off the map. That's one of the things that makes Izanami the funnest character in Divine Knockout. Now we're going to go on to minor traits. For the first minor trait, we're going to use Ambush. Hitting an enemy while stealth grants an additional 12% ultimate charge. Obviously, it's self-explanatory. It's the best way to get your ultimate ability up faster. Next up, for the second minor trait, we're going to use Encroaching Doom. Hits against crowd-controlled enemies deal an additional 10% knockback. Now, 10% does not seem like a lot, but when you get somebody feared with a decent enough vulnerability, that extra 10% can make the difference, especially when you're going up against characters as sturdy as Ymir and Athena. Hercules, yes, but I believe Hercules is not as tanky compared to the other two. Now also keep in mind, since the removal of lesser blessings, there'd been a drastic drop in the power spikes of characters, which was intended in my personal opinion. That's why you feel a lot of the gods are more balanced than ever before. Now this next minor trait, in my opinion, is the most important one, and it's called Sneaky. Stealthed duration lasts an additional 1.5 seconds and gains an additional 15% movement speed while stealthed. Now, I believe this is the most important Izanami minor trait, even before the changes to the XP pass. When you're playing Izanami, this was a must-have, as it would now equip you with the speed needed to be the fastest Kunoichi in the Hidden Leaf Village. Now we're going to go on to the Greater Blessings, but I'm going to give you two options because I switch between them both. So the first Greater Blessing I use is called Arthur's Insight. Dodging a hit grants an additional 6% ultimate charge, and dodging is something you consistently do. And since the removal of lesser blessings, we no longer have stuff like preheated, so to get a consistent ultimate charge up, you're going to need Arthur's Insight. Now for the next Greater Blessing, you use this especially if you want to be super aggressive. Use Thor's Landing. Damaging an enemy with your first ability reduces your cooldown by 4 seconds. Now again, note, this is mainly for super aggressive play with Izanami. It's perfect because you get to come in and be invisible more, allowing you to be that speedy Kunoichi, and they'll never see you coming, and they're just going to get so frustrated, it's going to make them wish they were fighting Loki. Now we're getting to my favorite part of the video, where we get to cover some awesome tips I have for you guys to make you guys the best Izanami, the best Kunoichi out there. So let's get into that. Tip number one is learning how to use your Seeking Sickle, or your Sickle Boomerang as I like to call it. What's very important about this, note that when you throw it back, it does come back at you. So as you move around the map, you can get it at a certain direction, so it ensures that it hits your opponent. But the main thing you need to learn about this is when it's coming back, if you can get your opponent to be hit on the recoil back, it staggers your opponent just for a little second or so, and it pulls them closer towards you, giving you the option, if they're off the map, to spike them down into oblivion, or you can use it to set up a very powerful combo where you send out your Seeking Sickle, allow it to come back, and once it hits your opponent and drags them closer to you, you instantly use your Lunging Cleave, which gives you a perfect combo. It sometimes spikes them all the way to 70% vulnerability at times. Now, since we just talked about that amazing combo, it would feel better that we talk about Lunging Cleave. With Lunging Cleave, you don't want to spam it all the time. You really need to be careful because this is an ability when you use, if you miss it, you are going to be able to get hit by your opponent regardless of what you try to do. Unless your Wi-Fi is perfect and you're able to dodge, you're going to get hit and take free damage. So you need to ensure when you use it, you have the opportunity to land an ability. You can kind of change the direction of it. It's not easy to do, but you can do it. Now for the third tip, it's going to be with Fade. Fade is your mobility ability, and it's one of my favorites because once you land, you turn invisible. You can use this to interrupt your opponent's abilities and actually leaves your opponent unable to move for a couple milliseconds, which is very good for your part, allowing you to do some nice side attacks to add some vulnerability to them. Now, I would not recommend using a heavy attack or a charged heavy because by the time you get that off, they will be able to move and they can easily dodge out of your attack. You can also use your mobility as a perfect retreat. You go in, you stay invisible and wait for the right moment to strike and instantly go in and do some nice, sweet damage on them. It's even better than Loki's in my personal opinion because I think Loki's is very easy to dodge. Now, obviously, I know the ways to counter Izanami, and I've said it in a lot of my other videos if you watch. Now, with the next tip, we're going to be talking about her ultimate, Spectral Projection. It's my favorite ability with Izanami, and why is that? It's pretty simple, guys. You can fear people. Now, there are two ways I like to use this. One is once you knock them off the arena and they're trying to come back, if you get the fear in them at the right moment, they will drop down into oblivion, giving you that match point victory. Whatever nightmares you feed them there, that's game over for them. Another way I like to use it is very simple. Now, if I see my opponents at a decent enough vulnerability where I can ensure a knockout, I'll stay on the map and wait for them to either make a mistake. For example, let's say if Thor's spinning or Hercules is coming in with his charge, I'll instantly pop my fear and wait for them. I'll be immune to their attack, of course, which now allows them to be feared, and I can easily knock them out of the map with a hold heavy attack or just a heavy, depending where I am on the map. And the last thing I want to leave you with here is learn how to use her ultimate, because if you're a brand new Izanami player, you're going to mess up her ultimate a lot, because you actually have to reactivate it to get it in the spot you want it to land. If you don't, it'll just keep traveling and pop open wherever it lands, and that's not really what you want when you're playing Izanami, because that ultimate can sometimes be the difference between a victory and a loss. Now, with that being said, overall Izanami is a good 8 out of 10 spicy chicken nuggets, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.